All right, so here's the deal. I have a very good and very bad excuse for starting really late. So, first and foremost, I want to apologize to my man Patel. You said yo in the chat. So, when I first jumped on here, which was an hour ago, I was feeling a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a while since I'd done a live, and it really was a while because I actually spent the last hour talking into a mic and I didn't hit live. So, yeah, that just happened. And if you guys don't believe me, I'll have my wife jump on the chat and put a thumbs up in chat just so you guys can. But yeah, I spent the whole hour doing this live without hitting live. That happened. Anyway, so what we're going to start doing here week to week, and I don't know if it's going to be every week, guys. You know, at the end of the day, this is like a hobby for me. I have a lot of fun doing it, but what I want to do is do a deep dive into micro brands. And I could have just jumped online and start doing research and start reading forums, but I'll be honest with you, that's not how I learn the best, man. I'm not a reader, okay? I'm not a type of person that likes to do that kind of like background history things, but I am excited about micro brands. And I thought that if we did it as a live and we learn together and I can ask you guys questions as we go along, it'd be a lot funner. So what I'd like to do is we're going to go brand by brand in the micro brand space, or independent brand, as I like to say. And this was actually inspired by somebody on WatchCrunch who year to year does a tournament style on independent brands where you guys vote as a community who is the top brand for that year. And I think it's gone along for 2 years now. And I want to be able to show you guys. Let's share that screen real quick. So yeah, here we go. My guy on WatchCrunch, All the Watches, he does this micro brand tournament. And I think the last 2 years, Vaer and Formex were in the Hall of Fame, as you can see here at the bottom. Let's blow that up. So yeah, he does those competitions. This year it was Baltic, and I reached out to him. I said, "Hey man, look, I'm looking to do a series on a live where I'm just gonna go from micro brand to micro brand or independent brand, and I just want to pretty much do a breakdown for them." Now, when I say breakdown, it's not so much me telling you guys information about it. What I am utilizing this space for and the live for is for us to have a discussion about it, for you guys to let me know some information about them. Because at the end of the day, guys, there's so many different brands I have on a list already. And by the way, if you read the description and you read the brands that I am going to include week to week, I did add Christopher Ward. They were not on the original one. Not sure why. Probably because it was more of a compliment thing than anything else, because they're on their own league, right? They're in their own level. They're kind of doing crazy things. But the whole idea of this is for us to have a discussion. I'm kind of looking at these brands with fresh eyes, if you will. Now, I've attended the shows last year for the independent brands, which sparked my curiosity for it. That's what really jumpstart things for me. But I really want to go deeper. I want to start exploring it more. I'm seeing a lot more value in micro brands, independent brands as I'm going along. And wristwatch check, I actually have my first independent brand, Vienichanico, the Rendendoria Venturina glass, on wrist. Let me show you guys on camera, just so you guys can see that. The Venturine glass, you could kind of get it there in the angle, seeing it all that. And this was my first micro brand watch. This was my first company that I didn't purchase. It was a gift from the wife, right? But it was my first one that I put into my collection. And I was really, really, really happy, not only with the watch, but the fact that it was an independent brand was very exciting, because I'm finding that they have the most value as far as what they have to offer for us, as far as putting their passion, their designs, interacting with us at shows. It's really exciting as far as that goes. So that's the reason why we're spending. Now, I'm also preparing myself. Now, I don't want to release too much information. I'm doing a collaboration with another content creator. And, you know, this me moving forward with trying to get more information about micro brands is going to make more sense down the road as things develop. And I just want to make myself sharper in that space as it is. So I just wanted to give you guys the backstory to that. And this is where I compiled most of the list. Now, Vaer and Formex were reigning champions prior years. Baltic was the 2024 person, and they just beat out Laurier. You could see here. Oh, wait, I got to share the screen. Sorry. You could see here, you have Vaer, Formex, Hall of Fame. Baltic here as the champion for the 24. Laurier was final round with them. They got knocked out final round. After that, Zelos. If you go to the other side, we have Baltic. So I compiled the list generally by how they were progressing through this tournament. But then my guy, All the Watches, also gave me a couple extra micro brands and independent brands to add to my list. So in the description, I have a whole bunch of micro brands listed. Take a look at that, guys. Let me know if I'm missing anybody else that you are interested in or that excites you, or if you're a follower of. There are hundreds of them out there, I'm sure. I only got what I was privy to from this list and from what he shared about me. I'm very new in this space, so there's going to be a lot of things that we have to learn here, a lot of things that we have to understand and look at for the first time. So again, we're looking at things in a very fresh perspective, starting off with Vaer. Now, they, from what I understand, are pretty much one of the top dogs when it comes to the independent brand space. I'm not sure how long they've been around for. My first impression from them is that they have a lot of color play when it comes to their watches, and it looks really, really good as far as that goes. So let's take a look at their watches. Now, let's see what the price point is. And I'm expecting, obviously, when you've been around for a while and you have the cash flow as a business to invest into the watches, there's always that, space where you want to keep things affordable, right? That's the whole point of it. The whole point of independent brands is to not have an overhead, to not have the brick and mortar, which is also going to be part of what we're looking at as far as the websites go too, right? Because they don't have a brick and mortar, because they're mostly an online store, or at some point you can go to the shows and some of them let you purchase them at the show. Some of them don't. Some of them want the shows just to be interactive. So it all depends on the angle. But at the end of the day, what we do know is that for the most part, I don't know if this applies to every single micro brand or independent brand, but we do know that most of which are online access, right? So what I'm expecting from each of these brands is to have put that investment into their online stores. And I want it to not only be functional, I want it to also be, very detailed, very easy, very flowing. What are they displaying first on the landing page? What does that look like? And as we look at Vaer's landing page, they're looking at their new collection, which makes sense. You want to advertise the newer watches in the front, and it's a GMT collection, very colorful, very playful with their colors. I love that off the bat. You see a lot of sunburst here. You see a black and white, but even with their black and white, they're adding some color, and it's very playful colors, right? It's very vibrant colors, like colors that you would give children, if you will, like you would create children's toys out of. You're trying to attract the eye. You're trying to attract the attention. You're trying to give in to those details where, they otherwise would be ignored. It would be more boring. And that's pretty impressive. And it's pretty nice off the bat. This is, again, my first impressions of them. I have heard the name before, obviously. I probably watched videos of the owners and stuff like that, but there's so much content being consumed and there's so many different things going on that it's not something that I have committed to memory just yet, except for being familiarized with the brand name. So taking a look straight off the bat, we've got their Aquamatic, which is their diver series, obviously. Very colorful, Still going with that. I like this tealish color. That's a very off green too, a little bit of a teal green. Blue is very nice. And I'm going to jump in and out of the screen, guys. I still don't understand how to look at the chat while I'm going through the screens. Mega, what's going on? Dave D. If Dave D's here, we got to talk about that sailcloth, of course. What's going on, gentlemen? I do apologize. I don't know if you caught it in the beginning, but I literally went an hour with talking to myself because I thought I hit the live button. So I sat here literally for an hour talking to myself. So I'm redoing it. But what's going on, gentlemen? Happy Friday. Going through some micro brands. If you missed, the beginning half of it, that's what I'm going to be focusing on week to week. I'm going to cover as many as I can and just have some fun and learn things with you guys, man. That's the whole point of this. So I'm starting off with Vaer, and I'm still in that, starting off with their diver series. And again, a lot of colorway, a lot of funky fresh. Now, let's look at what the price point is at with Vaer. And it looks like it's up there, right? Like I said, they are one of the companies that seem to have a little bit more history. They're not new to the space. I'm looking for, one thing that I look for micro brands is I'm looking for if they have an entry level, right? I like companies that give us the step into series and then the build up from there, right? Like more affordable, a mid-range, and then they're big bangers. They're really big, impressive stuff, if you will. Like if they're trying to really impress us with a movement, an in-house thing, or whatever the case may be. But from the looks of things, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, I'll jump in and out of chat when I can just to see what you gentlemen are saying. I don't see any I don't see actually any, starting range as far as their watches goes. It looks like it's pretty much 1,000 plus, 1,100 there, 900. Okay, I might be wrong. 995. That looks like a absolute starting point for them. Now, this watch is what I've been impressed with them, right? I have a lot of divers in my watch collection. I just added my San Martin to it. And excuse me, the real reason why I'm impressed by this diver by them is that internal chapter ring that rotates instead of having the external bezel to keep track of it. But I also know that there is more to this watch. I can't remember off the top of my name, but I know that when you're starting with the guys who have been doing it longer, they're more about innovation along with using high grade stuff in their cases and in their movements, of course. SW200, Swiss made Salida. Okay, so here's the deal. I just talked about this for an hour and I got to talk about it again. I'm starting from a point where I only really am familiar when it comes to movements. And this is where I would love for us to have a communication back and forth. But I'm only really familiar with the NH35. So my point of reference for movements is really going to be from the point of view of an NH35 movement, okay? I understand that this is a Swiss-made movement, that it's an SW200. That's a movement that I see oftentimes in a lot of the higher tier brands. So I could kind of gauge the fact that this is probably a high beat movement. This is probably incredibly accurate. And I know it's going to cost way more than an NH35, right? That's the extent of movements of movement knowledge. That's what I know. I know the NH35. I know the NH36. I know the 38. And I know the 34, which is the GMT, collar GMT, office GMT, if you will. So bear with me. In fact, put in the comments and help me go along with, helping me to understand the level of quality, let's say, in the movements that we're talking about. So anyway, SW200, Swiss made. We're talking about $11.95 for this watch. Titanium, Swiss made. Is it justifiable? Look, here's how I look at independent brands off rip. They are going to be a lot more value. Personally, in my opinion, this is what I think. They're more value than getting the big box brands. And I love the big box brands. I know they have heritage. I have a lot of respect for them. I know they pave ways and everything else that comes with it. But here's the deal. if you're looking at current times, if you're looking at a lot of where these independent brands are, they are where they were back when they started. Yeah. They're really doing the things and putting the passions into their watches. You know, they're in the new age stuff where they have the internet to retail and sell their watches versus, you know, doing it the old school way of brick and mortar. But at the end of the day, they're giving us a lot of value. And the only way that you could really, the only way you could really step into a watch space and be a new watch brand and creator is to change the value of watches. A lot of the styles have already been done. A lot of the movements have already been created. So what else is to do but, you know, try to put things together a little bit different. But anyway, this is the loom shot of the watch. And yeah, I've been interested in this one, just eyeballing it, right? This is $11.95. This is not within my realm of reach at the moment. It's something for me to just gather information and be interested maybe down the line and as I go along. But it allows me to step out of that conventional diver style watch and really look at something that's a little different, you know, and that's 300 meters. So that's pretty cool. So let's go back and look at something else. Let me pop into chat just to make sure. I have to bounce, take care. Mega, thank you for stopping in, brother. I know it's a Friday and I know I'm an hour late, sort of. I was an hour of talking to myself, but I appreciate you popping in. Dave D as well. I don't know if you're still here, but I appreciate everybody popping in. I see there's a couple people in here. So if you missed the very beginning, we're doing a Microbrand marathon and we're just looking at things with fresh eyes. And, you know, if you guys, as I go along, if you guys have a better understanding of a brand specifically, please let me know, you know, what they're known for, what they are mostly, because I know there's a lot of brands, a lot of micro brands that are known more for, let's say, their innovation, or they're known more for, let's say, you know, having an in-house movement. Like, what is the number one thing that they excel in, right? And especially with these first few ones, these are going to be one of the more top dogs. So feel free to just join in and let me know if you love that particular brand and what's the particular watch. If you own one, man, this is what it's all about. We're just trading information and we're looking at these. Now, that is more of a style of watch that is more new age, I would say. This is more of looking at like a vintage style watch, in my opinion, especially with this small second hands. This is a moon phase, of course. So we're going to see a jump in price there. It looks like their starting price is $1,100, $1,000. This is a sick lime green. I really like this. They're calling it the avocado green. Fair enough. This is also a Salida SW. Okay, so I don't think that they're going to be messing with anything but, you know, that's my guess. That's, you know, I don't really know. Let's look at this one. This is going to be a Swiss made. Yeah. Oh, that's the movement. I mean, that's the finish. Where's the movement? I don't know. They're offering it also in a bracelet for $170. Not too bad. Power reserve of 68 hours. Now, let me talk about that. Like, this is not specifically on micro brands, but it's something that I do like to share. I don't like a large power reserve, man. It doesn't make me feel better that my watch is going to be running 4 days after I wear it, 5 days after I wear it, right? Like, a lot of these guys are advertising 80-hour power reserve and yeah, it'll keep going. Maybe if I have a collection of 3 watches, cool. You know what I mean? But when you have a lot more and you're rotating a lot more, then, you know, having that power reserve so high is not attractive to me, especially something that's in a high B. What's going on, gentlemen? Trap D in the building. David is in the building. What's happening? Gentlemen, I'm sorry if you're coming in late. I apologize. I started this really late. Watch the beginning of this video. I can't keep saying it, but there was a very good reason why I started so late. But gentlemen, thank you for popping in. We're doing a micro brand marathon series here, going, you know, company by company and learning together, man. Feel free to jump in the chat and let me know what your own take is on the companies. But going back to the power reserve, I'm not impressed with a large power reserve. In fact, I want my watch to time out after 24 hours, to be honest with you, if not less. I'd be cool with an automatic, stay with me now, don't think I'm crazy. I'd be cool with an automatic watch that times out after 10 hours, 10 hours. Why? Because I don't need that watch continuously running when I'm not using it. And of course, I'm coming from a perspective of somebody that has multiple watches and I'm rotating them. So once I put a watch down, I'm probably not going back to it until, you know, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sometimes a month later. So that makes sense for me. But, you know, I'd like to share my food for thought. That's just my thing. So let's look at this watch a little bit more in depth. I'm trying to find the movement. And this is, I think this was like their step-in watch. 28.8 vibrations. Okay, so right there. Oh, here goes the movement. Oh, it is this one. I thought that was the finishing. See, this is how much I need you guys right now, because I thought that was referring to the finishing because it said finish right. 28,800 vibrations, 4 hertz. This is a high beat movement. Okay, high beat movements are known to have more wear and tear, right? They're operating at a higher caliber. They're more accurate, but the trade-off is that they're working harder. So, you know, having that 68 power reserve when fully wind, I don't want that. I don't want that. But, you know, I'm just talking jibber jabber at the end of the day. That's a beautiful watch. It kind of reminds me of, and I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, but it kind of reminds me of Studio Underdog. Do you guys feel that way too? Let me pop on chat. I got to go in and out. I'm about to check out the beginning. Yeah, check out the beginning, bro. You're going to die laughing. Dave D says SW200R. Let me put the chat. Yo, guys, I'm really like noob right now. I'm like starting from the beginning. Let's just do this. SW200 are very widely used in Swiss-made watch. Okay, yeah. Dave, especially that SW200. I'm seeing that a lot. I don't know, like, if that is the most reliable movement versus affordability versus keeping the cost down, but definitely see the SW series, whether it's the 200 or the 300. And again, I'm just learning about movements. I'm just learning about independent brands. So I'm starting from scratch here. So I appreciate you putting that a little bit of information out there. So using Swiss-made watches. Okay, that's cool. It's good, Dave. I'm Midwest Watch. Oh, okay. Gotcha, Dave. Gotcha, David. Cool. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. You might have to keep reminding me too, because you guys jump back and forth with names sometimes, and it makes it a little bit difficult for my very small capability of memory. Now, let's jump back into Fair. So yeah, this gives me like a studio, and again, I don't know if they came out with their dial first, or if Studio Underdog came out with theirs, but it definitely doesn't look exactly the same, but it gives me that feel. Quick release, of course. You know, when you're dealing with this caliber of an independent brand, we expect a quick release. Now, what's interesting is that they have screwed down case back instead of a screw down case back, screw in case back, right? They chose to screw this down. That makes me question the water resistance. Let's see if we can get that. Now, again, this is $995, and this is the most affordable watch that I've seen by them thus far. I may be wrong. There may be a more affordable watch that they have in their collection. We'll find out in a moment, but I'm just curious what the water resistance is. Imagine it says it on the dial and I'm just blind as a bat. Let's see. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So I don't know. See, this is one of the things. Oh, man. Blind as a bat. There you go. 50 meters. All right. I mean, I guess that's the bare minimum. And I guess it's not a field watch. This is more of like a dress watch, right? Or it's both, but at least it has at least 50 meters, and it's to be expected when you have a screw down case back with screws. So it is what it is. But let's jump back. I'm just going to take a peek at chat just to make sure. Screw down. Interested? You sure it's not a Casio? Salida movements can be cost effective in comparison to some other movements. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. See, I love it. Just keep hitting me with the information, guys, as we go along, man. I appreciate it. This is how I'm going to excel as far as the growth goes. Because I'm not the type of guy. I'll do it, right? But I don't like to sit there and read websites, man. I feel like I'm doing that right now, but I'm doing that while I'm talking to you guys. So it's kind of cool. And it's kind of cool that you guys could highlight certain things. So let me just confirm that that was their step-in model. I believe it was. We looked at their diver compressor and why I like that over everything else. This is a really cool look to it. I think that, all right, so we're stepping into the $1,500 range, and for good reason. This is a GMT, so that makes sense, right? This is a GMT. We have the regular 3 o'clock date wheel. The aperture is interesting because it's a circle instead of a square. Uh, Big plus for having a same color coded for the dial. I'm big on that. Um, what I noticed, and I'll give you guys a little bit on that. I do like when the date wheel matches the dial. Yeah. I don't like when it matches the dial, but you can't read the date because it's not as clear, and you're not getting that from this watch. It is very clear. It is still in white, paint like the rest of the numbers go. So that is nice. I would have liked more to see this at the 6 o'clock. That's just my opinion. I don't know if I would have played with orange for the GMT and orange from the second hands, but I'm just nitpicking. Everything else is spectacular about the watch. It's a very nice design. But what I wanted to look at more is 1465. Why? GMT. So obviously, this is going to be a true traveler GMT at this point. I don't expect the 1465 to be in a collar or office, if you will. So yeah, SW30. What is that? 330. Yeah, there you go. So again, the Salida. And by what Trap was saying, he was saying that the Salida movements can be more cost effective in comparison to some other movements offered. So, is that the affordable end for Swiss movements? I don't know. Is there more affordable, Swiss made movements? Maybe, again, I don't have all the information, guys. I'm doing this literally so we can learn together. And so hopefully if somebody else is watching and they're not too versatile or too versed rather in the information, they're learning at the same time too. So a lot of different strap options. Let's see if there's a sailcloth here for my man Dave D, because if there's not, then we have to trash this whole thing here. What's this? Okay, that's a mesh. That's a nice option. That's a nice option. Dave D, no sailcloth, bro. No what's this? It's not a sailcloth, is it? A sailcloth-ish. No, that's not it. Nah, not seeing it. But a lot of different colorways, a lot of different options. Very nice. 1465 in price. Is there value there? I think so. I think so. When you're talking about a Swiss movement, when you're talking about design language and everything else that goes into it, this easily would have been a much more expensive watch had it been one of the big brands. And I'm not going to keep saying that, right? We already know that when we go with Microbrand, we know we're getting a deal. So that's the going theme when it comes to that. We're just trying to take a look at some different, companies as we go along. So anyway, let's look at the loom. Oh man, that's nice. What is that? BGW9? Is that the BGW9? Again, with loom, I'm the same way with movement guides. I'm a complete and utter noob. I don't know what side is up when it comes to it. Like me just saying BGW9 is because I've heard of it before. The filled with super luminova. Okay, whatever. Through the pictures, you could see that the loom is pretty vibrant, especially on the hands, which matters most, right? As those, it looks like it's, I don't know if it's also on the lettering here. Kind of looks like it is, but maybe not. That might just be so fired up from the hands. I'm curious to know if that actually is what it looks like in real time, like in real life. You know what I mean? If so, that looks spectacular. That looks like it's damn near lighting up the whole dial at that point. You have loom plots at the very edge of it. So do they need to go there? Probably not, but still very nice to have that. Gives you more of like that vintage style, old school type of look to it. Very nice. Very nice. I think Farah has very nice watches. Let me see if we could find one more that maybe is like way more money, but I don't think so. I think that pretty much is where things are going to lie with them. Let me just check chat. I don't want to ignore you guys. Hang on one second. My local watchmaker likes vintage automatics that beat set. Yeah, Yeah, and he probably let me see what the next thing you say. No sale cloth. Okay. So did we talk about this? Hold on. That's the trade-off. That's the trade-off, right? Here's the deal. We like mechanical watches for their for the magical feeling that they give us, knowing that their little machines working. It's nice that you don't have to change a battery. It does suck if you have to service it. However, when you get so fixated in having a movement that's super accurate, it's working harder, right? It has a higher beat. It is going to be accurate to down to the closer in seconds, but it's going to have to be serviced soon. So I'm assuming, Trap, that you're giving and sharing this information with me because the watchmaker understands that that watch is working a lot less. No sailcloth. Yeah, no sailcloth. No sailcloth for my man Dave D. Throw the whole company away. Yo, they were actually top rated when it came to the competitions, Trap. They were actually, as far as community, okay? Don't shoot the messenger. Hall of Fame, you see their name first. Vaer was the first company that won that class. So they're obviously beloved by the community. They're obviously well respected. Does that mean that they're the best micro brand? Obviously not. That depends on your opinion at the end of the day. But yeah, man, they were the ones that made it to top seed first, which is, they have my respect for that. Anything that the community votes on, it's worth paying attention to. At least it may not be also what my conclusion to my opinion is, but there's a lot of respect for that. Already out of my budget anyways. Yeah, Dave, it's also out of my budget too right now. I'm not ready to drop $1,500, $2,000 on watches. I aspire to be at that place, to have that expendable kind of income where I don't feel it, but I much rather invest my money right now. I much rather save. I much rather have up and coming plans for my future. So a man can dream, a man can look, a man can inspire to get there. So let's see, already out of my budget anyways. Oh, it's so out of your budget. You said it twice. All right, so let's take a look at it. Like, so before we move on from Vaer, I just want to make sure there's no outlier here for, like, let's say, 1,700. So is that the most expensive watch they have? Is that what's going on? They also have a moon phase, which makes sense for that complication. So yeah, 1,700 for either the moon phase, or am I going in circles here? Yeah, I'm just making you guys dizzy. Yeah, so the moon phase. Okay. What are we talking about here? We're talking about a Sellita SW288. All right. Okay. I guess, yeah, I guess when it comes to that complicated, beautiful watch. Definitely a vintage inspired look, in my opinion. The aperture is back to the conventional square there, but it is at the 6 o'clock. Matching color. So this is, okay, point in case, right? This is exactly what I was saying to you guys before. Let me just make sure. Okay. This is exactly what I was saying before, right? That's a hard date to read. That text should have been in white. When you have this baby blue, although it's a sunburst, although it's a lighter color, maybe I'm wrong, maybe in person, maybe this online picture doesn't do justice, but in my opinion, from the website image alone, I think that date wheel number should be in white, in my opinion. But everything else is phenomenal. It's a beautiful watch. I'm sure the movement is what justifies the price, combined with the complication. Many different options to follow suit with the rest of their things. They have a nice mesh option to go there that effectively increases the price. Not too much. We're talking $1,795, so $1,800 versus a clean 18 plus tax. So whatever. That's fair. Let's look at the loom. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. Like the actual moon. Okay, all right. I'm not mad at that. I am not mad at that. I would have. Would I say beef up the loom on here? Nah, you don't really need that. It's good enough. That's nice. That's nice. Anywho, let me check the chat just to make sure you guys are good. Already out of my budget. One thing that is dangerous is once you spend that 1.5 to 2K on a watch, it soon becomes a yeah, that's true. Once you go past your ceiling, it's very easy. It's like that with everything, right? But especially with watches, I know when I first started collecting, I started collecting iconic watches that were like sub 300. A lot of my watches to begin with were like 150, $200, most of them under $100 on a lot of like Vostok. I got the Homage 1963. I got myself a Casio Duro, this Seiko. You know, I slowly started. Oh, I'm not wearing my Seiko. I'm wearing my Aventurine. My bad. I had it on earlier. A lot of them were iconic watches, but my focus in collecting was getting iconic watches that were affordable and that were at a sale price, right? So I had like a triple threat when it came to buying my watches. But man, has that crept up and I've gotten comfortable going higher and higher as far as that goes. Like mentally, I haven't been spending $500 or $600 a pop on watches. I've actually froze my watch collection as is, aside from that summer watch. But yes, you're absolutely right. That ceiling goes higher, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of people were like, $2,000 for a watch. What are you, crazy? And then all of a sudden they're like, $2,000. That's good value. You know what I mean? So, hey, listen, it is what it is. As long as attached to that, you have aspirations to work harder for those watches, if you will, like increase that expendable income or whatever the case may be, you know, get a side hustle. I don't know, whatever the case may be. But let's get back into it, guys. Formex. All right. Formex. Guys, drop down in the chat what makes them who they are. Now, I can tell you what I know. What I do know about Formex is that they're very innovative, right? I don't remember specifically what they're innovative for, but I'm being met with this first image of a watch that says chronometer. So right there, boom, that justifies a lot. And I'm expecting this watch to be, again, one of the higher echelons when it comes to watches. So this Essence is a chronometer. What else can I see from it real quick? I'm seeing Swiss made, obviously. This looks like a titanium watch. I could be wrong, but from the few videos that I watched, I know that they were focusing on their bracelets. I think it was, they wanted to perfect their bracelets. I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue and I probably could read it here, but they were voted #1 microbrand. Interesting. 64 brands, one winner. Formex was voted #1 in 2023 of the microbrand. Oh, watch enthusiast from WatchCrunch. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's exactly where we got our list from, right? Like if we go back to here, this is exactly where, and they're exactly right. So this is 24. Right, Baltic is 24 and they were 23, and they have that on their website. That is actually really cool. Like they just got brownie points for recognizing that and posting that, and I don't know where it went. Let me see if I could go back. Whatever. So let me look at chat. Let me just make sure you guys are not trying to drop some knowledge for me. Let's see. What do we got here? Do you want my wife is anything I sell free money for me to spend on watches. There you go. Listen, that is that create that extra income. Whatever you got to do. Adjustable clasp. They're adjustable clasp for straps. They're known for their adjustable clasp for straps. Are they that like nice as far, because there's a lot of people making adjustable clasps, innovative. Yes, that I remember. Case design is ahead of its time. Okay, now we're diving a little bit deeper. Oh snap, finally got the big homie live. Yeah, space. First of all, first and foremost, what's going on, big bro? I've been rusty, man. I haven't been on here for a live for a minute, so it's nice to be back. It's nice to have a mission, right? Now that I have my man Trap here, I told them in the beginning, Trap, that I'm doing this for a particular reason. I didn't give them too much information, but there's a specific reason why I'm trying to focus on micro brands and get my knowledge up when it comes to that. But Space G, what up? Welcome in. Okay, I just suspension system and a fly adjustment bracelet that has no other company. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's exactly so the suspension system, huh? Suspension. That's in the case, right? The case kind of has like that compression to it and stuff like that. I think I saw a video on that, so that makes sense. So they're innovative, man. They spend a lot of time, they spend a lot of money looking into like how they can reinvent things or add things to the watch culture and everything else. So that makes sense. Let's pop that back on and look at a couple of their watches. Now, let's see here on their lineup. Ooh, so some of them are list price, some of them don't. I kind of booing about that, right? Because I'd like to just see all the prices. They're mainly a website company, right? All these independent brands are depending on the websites. You got to make things like in the face, very easy access. In my opinion, maybe I'm being a little, butthurt because I'm on a live and I just want everything to be right in front of me. But it looks like this watch is probably their starting watch, which is a field watch. Let's take a look at that. So sandwich dial, that's very nice. 150 meters. I'd like to see that in a field watch of 100, at least 150. I would say at least 100, right? Minimum. So you don't necessarily need, 3,000 300 meters of water resistance. Now, what's impressive off the bat is I could see down here at that aperture. Of course, it's at the 6 o'clock. It is color coded to match the dial, and it's very visible. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like when you do a date wheel and you do the aperture, this is what it needs to look like. It needs to look uh more up to date, right? First and foremost, it needs to attract you, but it also needs to be visible still, right? Don't just match the dial and then we can't read the date or makes it harder. So it looks like Formex is aware, privy to it, right? It looks like this case is also going to be titanium. Let's look at the specifications, yeah. What are we getting out of here? Water resistance, 50 bar, 15 bars, Swiss made movement. Okay, obviously you're getting a Swiss made movement. I don't think they're going to mess around with anything else at this point or at this caliber, right? Let's take a look here. Titanium grade 2, sapphire crystal, anti-reflective coating. Okay, that makes sense. I don't see specifically, maybe I'm blind. Movement. SW200. Yep, trap. You're right. SW200 also in there. It's fair enough. It's fair enough. I'm sure there's more to this watch that I'm not seeing or that you guys may know that gives it more value. It doesn't look too crazy to me, but at the end of the day, you are still getting that Swiss made. You got the railroad tracks on the edge of it. Let me see if I can get more pictures. Yeah, you got the railroad tracks. You got that nice clean aperture. Everything else looks clean. I mean, we're looking at images online, right? So the best thing we could do, there you go with the clasp that you guys were talking about. So they're emphasizing that clasp. Now it looks like from what I'm gathering here, it looks like that he's emphasizing the fact that he can do a quick adjustment while it's still on wrist, which would make sense of it as far as it being an innovative thing or something of that caliber. But it's a great field watch. It looks like it's their step in as far as the company goes, and we're talking about $840 to $995. And of course the blue colorway is sold out because that's probably the most popular color on average for most collectors, like blue. Yeah, let's take a look at something else from them. Let's see. Let me take a look at chat just in case. Who we got in here? Dad Mod's in the building. What's up, brother, man? Thank you for checking in. We're talking Microbrand here, going nice and steady, just learning some things with you fellas, hanging out. You know the deal. We're just hanging out and learning together. So let's take a look back at Formex. Let's go to what would be their top of the top, man. See, I don't like this, man. I like stuff to be in my face, prices right there, bing bong bip. But I'm gonna guess and say this reef because it looks kind of crazy. It looks like it's beefed up. That's 1900, 1800. Okay. I think the essence is something that they started off with, if I'm not mistaken. That's 1415. 14, 15. This one's 17. So there must be more into that as well. Let's see. That's also the Essence special edition. Let's see what they do with their special edition. Now, their special edition, notify me when it comes back. $5,000. Oh, hold on. Oh, hold on, Daniel-san. Hold on. 5,000. This price is already including tax, duties, and shipping. Huh. Okay. It's a lot of duties. Chronometer. Okay. I need more. I need more information. This made chronometer. I mean, I get that. That makes it 10 bar. Okay. Interesting. Patented micro adjust system. So back to what you guys were saying before. They have stuff that's patented. Okay. So clearly Formex is giving a name to the space for independent brands. When they're starting to patent things and they're starting to change the game for what, these independent brands can come up with, that's pretty impressive. And that elevates everybody. And we're going to talk about another company here that does the same thing, but that's pretty cool. 3-year warranty. Okay. 3-year guarantee, strap styles. I don't know why this watch costs $5,000 and I can't sit here and read all of it. So if you guys, it says it's a special edition. It says it's a special edition, 30 Essence 39 millimeters chronometer. Is it maybe just because it's a chronometer? I don't think that hikes up the price to 5,000. I don't know. Let me see what you guys are saying on chat. Let's see if you guys are responding to that. Generally 1,300 to 2,000. Got you. So they're really like the or my version of a luxury watch, right? And model is scope around 1,500. Diamonds. Oh, there's diamonds in the watch. Oh, if there's diamonds in the watch, okay, that makes sense. How did I miss that? Are you serious? There's not diamonds in the watch. Why are you messing with me, bro? There's diamonds in the watch? Where's there diamonds? No. There's diamonds here? Oh, snap. Oh, there might be diamonds. Okay. My bad. That makes sense. That's my bad. Not yet, bro. In the best. Wait, I gotta go. This model is around 1,500. Okay. In the best bike. Try unbox Formex. Yeah, right. You know what? Trap's lying, bro. He's got probably got 5 or 6 Formexes chilling on ice, just waiting. You know what I mean? You know how he does. Trap be like, oh, I'm not buying no more watches, right? And then he'll come on like 2 days later, like, yeah, man, I had to get this one. They had a good deal. That's the reason why. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought it. I swear. But after this, no more. Yeah, okay. He says, shush. All right, so let's get back into it. So, I mean, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, they're bold enough to go as far as reaching for a watch of a $5,000 range. They're putting obviously crazy material into the dial to make it such, and maybe they deserve it. If they're inventing things for us, if they're being innovative, then more power to them. Now let's talk about Baltic. Baltic. Now, my guess would be that they have watches, and before I even take a look at it, more of in the affordable range, right? I'm doing air quotes. You can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes. Affordable range. Being that I've seen them so much on wrists, a lot of people have them. A lot of people love them. I see a lot of vintage inspired designs from them. And they look like beautiful watches. I don't recall seeing their watches in person, but I am excited to go to New York and go to the Watch and Wine show and, really touch and feel all of these guys' watches, right? At the end of the day, I want to experience all the quality of them. But, I see a lot of Baltic watches and they have a lot of vintage inspiration and they look very good. And of course, they're going to look good online as well. But I have to guess that we're probably talking anywhere between $400 to $600 range. They probably have, okay, so this is a chronograph, so they definitely have something higher than $400, $500, $600. Excuse me. If this is in fact a Swiss chronograph, then we're talking at least a thousand plus, obviously. But everything else, I think, is pretty much within the range I was talking about prior. It seems like they love blue colorway for the most part. I'm seeing that as a continuing theme throughout their watches. But I first want to look at, I think I see this watch the most. Let's take a look at this and what it has inside of it. And now this is €545. I think that's about 6 and change in US, maybe a little bit less. I don't know if they have the conversion here to clarify. Not seeing it. Not seeing it. Hang on one second. How about this? What if I click this? Yeah, here we go. 583. Okay, so it's a couple of dollars more for US. Yeah. Let's see what's inside their watches, right? I think this is pretty much their entry into their watches, if I'm not mistaken. Specifications. What do they got in here? Movement. Oh, I don't even know what this is. Yeah. I'm gonna need your guys' help on this one. First of all, when it comes to movements, I'm not the guy that you want to go to begin with, but this one I know that micro rotor, I know what that means, but I don't know what anything else means. I wish that gave more of a breakdown to as far. I'm gonna jump the chat. You guys let me know. I'm gonna give it a couple seconds. Let me know if you guys know where this movement really lies as far as others go. I'm guessing it's more of an affordable movement, being that the price of the watch overall is not that expensive, but I'm not too sure. Let me jump out and see if I can find another watch. I see this watch a lot too. Not for nothing. Yeah, I seen all these colorways. Blue is probably the nice. They got the sandwich dial, very vintage inspiration type flow. 200 meters. Cool. We're talking 620. Okay. What are you getting for 620? Let's see. Miyota. Okay, so Miyota 9000 series. Now, Miyota 9000 series, I'm somewhat familiar with, right? I know that they have their 8000, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but their 9000 series is a little bit better than their 8000 series. So this is kind of, is this just above NH35? Is this the next step? I'm not too sure. Let me check to see what chat's saying on my prior question so I don't lose myself here. Wave, stop what? Dave, stop it. Oh, y'all going crazy in chat. Dial, shoot, I don't know, fancy glass. I need 2 weeks of power reserve. Dave D, you're crazy. 2 weeks of power reserve. No way. PC pulling cards. 2 weeks. Okay. Let me see if you guys answered me on. I have a nice, I think Baltic have sailcloths. Dave. You and the sailcloth. All right, so Hectic says 28K beats per minute. Okay, so it's a higher beat. Okay, I think you're answering. Wait, hang on. Is that for the Miyota Heretic? Is that for the Miyota, or is that for the other one that I didn't really recognize? That 28K beats per. It has to be 9000 series. Is hold on. The 9000 series is Chinese. Okay. Oh, so it's up there. I got you. Yes. Okay. Cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you for clarifying. All right. So I at least now have somewhere to ground myself. So that's pretty impressive then, right? I guess it probably doesn't cost as much because it doesn't have that echelons as a Swiss does. I forgot I got to switch screens. It doesn't have the echelons as a Swiss movement does. Maybe it's still mass produced in Miyota. I don't know. But the beats are up there as far as it goes. So it does beat out a Seiko. So, okay, you're getting kind of a deal then, right? You're getting a kind of a deal. This is this is what we're talking about when we're talking about microbrands having a lot of value. And as far as the style goes, as far as the design and everything else, very vintage inspired. Now, as a matter of fact, does this have a this has a double dome sapphire? Okay, so they opted for a lot of vintage inspired companies will go with the We'll go with the, what do you call that? Not sapphire, but the acrylic, just for that warm feel and stuff like that. And also to make it feel more like a vintage watch. But they went with the sapphire, which I personally, I want it to be a vintage look, right? As close as possible, but without sacrificing having like better features that are in it, right? Like the updated movement. I don't like buying vintage watches. I don't trust myself enough. I know you got to buy the seller. You also need an extension of knowledge of what is actually in the movement and what's actually original parts. It's just too much for me right now. And so here's the answer. You go to Baltic. They have a bunch of vintage inspired designs. They're putting up-to-date movements. They're giving you the sapphire crystal. Now let's look at this. Let's look at this chronograph here. Now this I'm expecting to be, yeah. So we're talking 15 to 21. And now look, this is obviously not a Seagull movement, right? I'm guessing this is not a Seagull movement. And so it's not the ST 1901. This is probably a Swiss movement. Yeah. So you're going to jump up. You're going to jump up. But even still, right? Like if you're getting a chronograph from a big brand, you can forget about it. We're not even talking 10K no more. We're talking 15. So still a lot of value. It gives you like that Daytona, the old Daytonas, where you got like that, especially this Panda. That's really nice. This watch is really nice. And this goes back to the comment before. It's like you start justifying these higher prices real quick when you're going deeper down the rabbit hole, because man, oh man, would it be nice? But I blabber on and on. Let me look at the specs on this. Let's see, BGW9, that's fine. I wonder if they have the loom shot. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. But Sellita SW510. So I'm gonna guess that, well, it's a higher number than the SW200, but I don't think that means anything because we're talking chrono. So it's probably just, at the end of the day, it's a Sellita. So yeah, that makes sense, man. That makes sense. It's a beautiful chronograph. It's got a lot of different colorways in it. So it's almost like a vintage inspired / new age spin to it with those colors, but mostly gives you like a vintage feel. And I wonder if they have a loom shop. That's another thing, man. Listen here, online companies. Okay, they have it. You got to have it, man. I've caught a couple of companies, and I'm not going to say that they're independent brands, but I've caught a couple of companies not showing a loom shot, and I'm like, some people live by it. Quiet as a mouse. Magic lever win. 19 city. Got it, bro. Chat vision. I started. My bad. I'm trying to catch up to chat here. I think you guys are pretty much talking to amongst yourselves. So system as a magic lever for the win. Quiet as a mouse. Okay. Yeah. So let's go back into it real quick. We're almost done, guys. I'm not gonna stay on here for too long. It's already been an hour. I might even end it at Baltic. To be honest with you, hang on now. Yeah, I might even end it at Baltic, and then we'll jump into Chris Ward next time. But BGW9, Sellita SW510, 63 hours of power, crown engraved. Yeah, man, it makes sense. It's a beautiful watch. They have different renditions for it. It makes a hell of a lot of sense. They have your Panda here. They have the reverse Panda. And then they got some of like the old school retro type vibe, like how the racers used to do. So I'm all right with that. Hang on one second. Sorry. So let's go back for 1 second. I just want to make sure. Now here's what caught my eye. I forgot to mention this. See our showrooms. What's going on over here? Because from my understanding, micro brands or independent brands, rather, they don't have showrooms. It looks like they do. And in fact, they have 3 showrooms, which I was not aware of this. I guess you have to make an appointment. Pretty cool that they have one in New York. I may check that out one time or another. One in Paris and one in London. Okay, so we're still not talking about 50 stores. Yeah, like they could contact a couple of ADs and get in there. But it is interesting that they have actual locations that you can visit and see their watches. again, I don't know if that classifies them or not to be a micro brand or an independent brand. I just know that most of them opt to not have that. But here's the deal. You would think, or you would imagine that because of that, they're going to charge you more money for the watches. But in fact, out of the three that we've gone over so far, they have the most affordable watches. So, you know, I want to say that it's a plus right now. You know, if they all of their watches were like $800 to $1,000, I would say you're probably paying a little bit more for the overhead. But look here, you have 580. This is in euros, so we're talking about $600 plus tax or whatever. But it's kind of cool that they have a showroom. Then I'm not mad at that, and I know that for the most part they're a part of the shows that they have. So I'm very excited to meet these guys in person and touch and feel their wives. But feel their wives. Feel their watches. My wife looked at me like, what did you just say? Touch and feel their watches. Anyway, guys, it's been an hour. It's been an hour, but it's really been 2 hours for me, because if you missed the very beginning, again, I was on here for an hour talking to myself. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys for joining in. I'm jumbling up my words. I'm done. I have video fatigue at this point. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for those who jumped in the chat and help. Yeah, Space, I'm struggling, bro. Hold on. Let me get some water. I got to get the water for the outro. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. My throat was super dry though. Guys, I appreciate you for tuning in. All you guys who shared some information. That's what this was really about. Just I want to do this every so often. I can't promise that I'm going to be on here every single week to talk about them. This is a hobby at the end of the day, but I am very excited to go down the list. There's 86 names that I have on there. So if you're watching this in the playback and you see my list in the description of the micro brands and independent brands that we're going to break down, but you know of one that is worth mentioning or adding to that list, let me know. I'll definitely add them. I appreciate everybody who joined me on the live and anybody who's watching this in the playback. So we're going to end off like how we normally do. It all started with a watch. No matter where you are in your watch journey, no matter where you take your watch journey, you guys are all accepted here on this channel. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.